One of the great privileges of being your Archbishop is to lead very much the insights on the way we should journey together in regarding religious education and the teaching in our schools. And new imagination and new initiatives are afoot, and I'd like to introduce them, not practically, others can do that, but by giving the biblical paradigm, I think, to all really good religious education. We go to the Master himself, Jesus, and we see how he catechizes, to see how he teaches religious education. And a beautiful scene is found in the 24th chapter of Luke's Gospel, the road to Emmaus. I'm sure you're familiar with it, but I'll paraphrase it. I won't read it out, presuming you've already seen it. But here are two disciples, two men who've been with Jesus. We don't know anything really about them, but they've been with Jesus. They've journeyed with the Lord, and they've now found that the Lord has taken them to Calvary, and they've seen their Lord and Master butchered on the Calvary cross in the most tragic of all ways of being persecuted and tormented and then died. They've lost hope. They feel that they've had taken the wrong boat, or wrong bus over the years. They're disillusioned, and they're scared that they too might be the next ones to be hung up as being followers of the Lord. So out they go. So they run away from Jerusalem. So this is where the gospel enters into the two men on the road to Emmaus with their back to Jerusalem, running away from all the saving events that you and I know 2,000 years ago, at the beginning and the very essence of Christianity, running away from it and talking to each other, dragging each other down. Our hope had been ... full of pessimism, sterile pessimism, the absolute opposite to Christianity, gossiping, lack of hope, despair, all these dark forces. It's almost as if the devil himself is now reigning in their heart rather than Jesus, our Lord and Saviour. And in the midst of that, unexpectedly comes this third person who we know is Jesus, risen from the dead, but they don't. And he just begins a conversation with them. So here we are, everybody, as we journey with young people in religious education. We're on a pilgrimage of encounter with Jesus. And we begin where people are. Jesus says, what are you talking about? The open question. And they sort of look at Jesus in an arrogant, sort of patronising way. You must be the only person around here who doesn't know it. What things? Well, all about Jesus of Nazareth. You know, he said this and he said that, but he hasn't been able to deliver the goods. He's let us down. We feel dumped. And we're scared for our own safety, so we're heading out of here. So Jesus then subtly, see, this is it, everybody. Catholic evangelisation and missionary work, which is what ARE does. That's what we do. That's what I do every moment. And you join with me. I'm your chief catechist. And you are joining in my ministry of catechizing to the people in the Archdiocese of Canterbury and Goulburn. We don't impose, we propose. But that means we know what we're proposing. We must know our Catholic faith very well. Tip of our fingers, more so, live it out in our hearts. Young people today, they know a fake. If you're saying something about Christianity, they say, well, you don't seem to believe it, you know. Well, then let's dismiss straight away. But we don't impose, we propose the saving events of Jesus Christ. And Jesus goes through these two disciples, disillusioned disciples, right from the word go to now, to see how it was all leading to the fact that the Messiah would be a suffering servant of God. And they're interested, and they start to say, oh yes, he's actually putting it together. And then clearly it's dialogal. There's a dialogue going. And we only get the headlines here, but clearly they're chatting with him. There's the RE class. You know, there's a dialogue here, saving dialogue. With the teacher, Jesus, and the RE teacher, is a step ahead of the others. And, but at the same time, it learns from them. Not despair, but their hopes, their hungers, and their thirsts. And then they said, well, look, we seem to be enjoying your company. We're at this town called Emmaus, and why don't we have a pub meal? And that's what it is. They go to the inn and they sit down, they continue their conversation, and they really now start to feel that this man has got it all together. And you can see in this meal that it's got all the indications that it's like Mass, it's like the Eucharist. You know, Jesus takes the bread, blesses it, he breaks it, he gives it. These are all key words for Eucharist. All the bells are ringing. He's actually celebrating the Last Supper, the Mass, with them, in their pilgrimage walk, although not all that advanced, running away, but he is showing an initiative of grace there and great tenderness, the God of tenderness and grace, walking alongside them, accompanying them. That's the key word of Pope Francis. Let us accompany people. And the May scene is beautiful. So all of a sudden it twigs on them. It's the Lord. It's the Lord. It's sort of an unspoken. If we had a film there, there'd be a lot of silence here, and it'll all be on the non-verbals. There's an encounter deep in their heart. This is the essence of religious education: to encounter Jesus as a community, and then to be sent out on mission. Encounter, communion, mission. And then he disappears from it. Why? Jesus doesn't need to be with them physically anymore because he's in their heart. And straight away, it seems like the scriptures say, that they got up immediately and headed back to Jerusalem. I don't know who paid the bill. I don't know if they finished the meal. But they were full of joy. When they're talking to each other on the way back, their tone is completely different. No longer sterile pessimism. It's hopeful. They say to one another, "Did not our hearts burn within us?" As he spoke to us along the way and explained the scriptures to us. And now they go back to the very place they were running from. They had, at the first half, they're back to Jerusalem. Now they've got their face to Jerusalem. Their whole front of them going back to they're going back to suffering. They themselves, we don't know anything about their future, but they themselves might have been persecuted and become martyrs. But they were going back to the embryonic community, the Christian community, Mary and the saints. Who knows, they might have been here on Pentecost Sunday. They went back, they wanted to tell the others about Jesus. The evangelized now becomes the evangelizer. The full circle is done. So I think that's a beautiful paradigm of religious education. And now, as it's going to be worked out in different practical ways that are appropriate to our archdiocese, and we're using resources that are creative. It's not just business as usual. I think it's a new. I'm very, very happy with what is being planned here, and I support it and want to be involved in it. But to me, is it going to be, the word is not really Christian, successful or not? No, the word is, will it be faithful to all that we have received, believed, and practiced to be truth? And lastly, will it draw up new evangelizers, people alive with Jesus, present in the Catholic Church, particularly at sacraments and the Mass? And will they be the fragrance of God to propose Jesus to the very fragile and confused world that we are in here in Australia, and particularly in this archdiocese? Do feel my blessings, my encouragement, and my every best wish for you. And I thank you so much for giving this just not on another subject. No, it's the priority of priorities. To be a religious education teacher in a Catholic school, to me, is a great grace. And may the grace of God be with you all the days of your life.